On the night of October 19th, 2017, a telescope on a volcano in Hawaii caught something that shouldn't exist. It was faint, just a smudge of light, moving too fast on a path that wouldn't make sense for it to be a normal space object. The astronomers almost ignored it, and if they had, we would have never known that for a few short weeks, something or someone from far, far away came visiting us right here in our neighborhood. The scientists named the strange object ʻOumuamua. It's Hawaiian and means a messenger from far away arriving first. At the time, nobody dared to use the word alien. That kind of talk ends careers. But one scientist at Harvard looked at the same data everyone else had and came to a conclusion that changed how he grasped the question, are we alone forever? He doesn't think Oumuamua was a rock. He thinks it was the first piece of alien technology we have ever seen. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly why. Because once you see what he saw, you can't unsee it. But astroputs, why was this so special, you may ask? Everything we have ever spotted in space came from here, our own solar system. We had never, not once earlier, seen an object that came from outside. Oumuamua was the first. It came speeding in from interstellar space, went around the sun and was already heading back out when we spotted it. We had about 2 weeks to study it before it was gone forever. 2 weeks for the first visitor from another star. So every telescope that could turned to look. And the more they looked, the stranger it got. The first weird thing was its shape. As Oumuamua flew through space, its light flickered. Bright, then dim, then bright again, over and over, changing by a factor of 10. The only way you get that is if the object is wildly stretched, spinning around, catching and reflecting the light from our sun. When they ran the numbers, the shape that fit was bizarre, something at least 10 times longer than it was wide. Picture a cigar-shaped rock the size of a football field. Or, and remember this for later, picture something flat, like a disc. We had never seen a natural space rock shaped anything like that, not even close. Then came the second problem. It was simply not a comet. When an icy comet flies past the sun, it heats up and sprays out gas and dust behind it, growing a beautiful glowing tail we see the shooting stars in the sky have. So, when we observed Oumuamua, we expected to see that sort of tail, but what we saw was shocking. Nothing. No tail or anything. Just a dry, mysterious, silent object. And honestly, that should have been the end of the story. A strange, boring rock from another star. Except, the deeper we looked, the stranger Oumuamua got. Everything changed as we observed Oumuamua leaving the solar system. It was moving wrong. The sun's gravity should have been slowing it down as it went away. That's basic physics. But instead of slowing down, Oumuamua was speeding up. It got an extra push away from the sun. The detection was rock solid. Zero chance it was a mistake. So something was pushing it. But the question remains, what? For a comet, that's easy. The sun melting its ice acts as a rocket engine, which would have been an explanation for why it was speeding up. But remember, there was no trail, and you can't have a rocket with no exhaust. So now the scientists had a real problem on their hands. An interstellar stretched out object magically got pushed. Not by gravity, and not by melting. And this is where it gets, honestly, a little bit desperate. To keep Oumuamua a natural object, people started inventing brand new objects that didn't exist. Maybe it was a giant iceberg made of pure frozen hydrogen, invisible when it evaporates, so no tail. That's clever. However, an iceberg like that would crumble apart long before it ever reached us. The math doesn't survive the trip. Maybe it was a frozen chunk of nitrogen that originated from when a planet like Pluto was made. That's clever as well. But there just isn't enough of that stuff floating around the galaxy to make it likely. So you see the pattern? To explain Oumuamua as a natural rock, you have to invent a brand new, never before seen, perfectly convenient object every single time. And that's the exact moment a Harvard astronomer named Avi Loeb stood up and asked a dangerous question. What if we are inventing all these exotic rocks just to avoid the simplest answer? Now, it's important to understand who this guy coming up with theories is. Because Avi Loeb isn't just some random guy that jumps to conclusions. No, he ran the astronomy department at Harvard for nearly a decade. He's published more scientific papers than almost anyone alive. This is a serious, respected man, and he's putting his reputation on the line to preach about this mysterious interstellar object. He wrote an entire book about it, called Extraterrestrial, where he explains his point of view on this weird object. He says, "Stop forcing the data to fit a rock. Just look at what the object is actually telling us. It's extremely shiny, extremely thin and flat. And it's being pushed away from the sun by some invisible force, with no exhaust at all." So here goes the question. What do we know of that's thin, flat and shiny and gets pushed by sunlight? We humans have actually created this sort of object, and Avi Loeb himself was on the team designing it. It's called a lightsail, and it is a piece of technology. A huge mirror-thin sheet that gets pushed by the reflecting sunlight that hits it. Light carries a tiny bit of energy that can push you, as long as you're super big compared to your mass. Like wind pushes a sail. No fuel, no exhaust, and no tail. We humans are designing these today to send probes into our neighboring solar systems at 1/5 of the speed of light, which is crazy fast. So let's look at ʻOumuamua one more time. It's shaped like a sail. It's shiny and gets pushed by sunlight with no gas. So when we stop comparing it to a rock, it starts to seem like technology. But there is one last detail that genuinely scares me. Before it ever reached our neighborhood, it was stationary compared to our movement, and we just happened to slam into it. That's not how rocks work. So here comes Avi Loeb's conclusion. Oumuamua was not an asteroid, not a comet, but a piece of alien technology, most likely a dead, discarded lightsail, a scrap of debris from a civilization we will never meet. Drifting through the galaxy long after its craters ever died out. Garbage from someone else's starship, or maybe, just maybe, something still quietly doing its job. We can't prove it though. Oumuamua is far gone now, too far to ever chase down. For 2 short weeks in 2017, the first object to ever visit us from another star may also have been the first message anyone ever sent us. And we almost missed it. This was the first video on my channel, and if you liked it, I hope you subscribe.